Hello, I am Moodida, and welcome back to Satisfactory Update 1.2. In this save, I'm using a few of the new game modes that have just been added. I need 100 times the space elevator parts to complete each phase. Each machine takes 5 times the normal power, and resource nodes are random, and so is the purity. In the last video, I expanded to the blue crater to find more coal. Then I built this monstrosity, and now there is 36 versatile framework per minute headed to the space elevator. Even with over 150 coal generators in my world, I didn't have enough power. I'm now utilizing 4 of the geothermals and a half dozen power storage to help with the fluctuations. This is just barely enough for everything. First thing I need to take care of today is gathering more coal and increasing my power production. Then I can get the last space elevator part started. That brings us out to the blue crater. We are not done out here yet. I think I forgot to mention it, but I definitely added a geothermal right over here because this one is a pier. So now I have a total of 4. I've got this one, the 2 that are right over there, and then the one that's in that little valley that I placed at the end of the last video. And my power grid is, well, not great. Could be worse, but it could be a lot better. I could run around the world and try to gather up all the geysers, although I don't know if I have enough circuit boards to craft that many high-speed connectors. Coal is still going to be probably my best option to really ramp up my power. I don't know why it likes to only show you 3. There's one just right over here. So we are going to use this one, which is a normal, and that one, which is a normal or a pure. I'll be able to get 2 full Mark III belts, so a total of 540 coal. And as we can see on my to-do list here, I've got all the materials for 16 of my blueprints, which each one has 2, so that's 32 coal generators, which need 8 water extractors. I really realized I need the same number of water extractors as I do coal generators. There we go. Hey, still have enough materials. Perfect. Alright, so first step is placing a whole bunch of foundations. I think if I just do 3 blueprints wide, that'll give me 12 foundations, and that'll be plenty of space. Come on, buddy. Alright, well, Coffee Stain decided this bean is just going to have to die, apparently. So let me place a whole bunch of concrete. And maybe he'll disappear, but I think he's stuck there until I kill him. Because he's floating in the water, and I can't place foundations under him. And so he's just stuck. And I don't want to build there. Lay off my foundations, bean. That's totally the same one. Yeah, see? He agrees. I think it'll be easiest just to work around this, and so we'll just go about as close as we can get to the geothermal, and then if I need more, we'll just go to the other side. Alright, so I could place one more, but I kind of want to keep things even, and I think that is about as far as I'll be able to place a water extractor on this side. Looks even. Get another 6 on this side. And then we'll just place the others on this side. And now realizing I queued up the wrong amount. Each side should have 9. Should be 18 in total. Now I have the right amount of coal generators. So there's 6 here, and then 3 here. For a total of 9. 9 blueprints, 18 coal generators. Because that should be the right amount. We have a belt of 270, each one uses 15. Yeah, 18. Okay. So this will be able to handle 2 full belts. Now I just need the water extractors. Alright, so we're right in the middle of this foundation. I'm just going to let this hang halfway over. Lock that in place right in the middle. And these, just like all the rest, are just going to be downclocked to 90. Since each one needs 45, I think it's just so much easier to just do 1 water extractor to 2. Each coal generator is 1 1/4 foundations, so every 2 is 2 1/2, which is the exact same width as one water extractor. So now I can just place these 3, and they're all lined up exactly where they need to be. Pipe work is going to be super easy. The belt work is going to be very easy also. You can just place a splitter right in front of each of these 3. Each coal generator needs 15, so that's 30. That's 30. And that one's 30. And so now, since I've got 9, I just do that for the other 2 pairs of 3. And then lastly, I just need one more splitter right in front of the very middle one. Each of those belts needs 30, so this one needs to be 90 on each one. 90, 90, and 90 adds up to 270. And the belt work is that easy. I just need a few more water extractors, pipes, and belts. The belt and pipe work is all done, but there's just a couple last things to do. Since it's going to take a little while, what I would like to do is power on the water extractors ahead of time so I can get these pipes pre-filled. And then I need to collect the coal. And like we've gone over, my power grid is stable enough, but I certainly can't just turn all of these water extractors on at once. I could go one by one, and I don't think that would push my power grid over the edge. Could probably even do a couple at a time. Or I could just not stress at all and just use my new blueprint of biomass generators that I made. I don't think I'll need a ton, so if I just drop, I guess I should keep a little bit on me just in case. I think that is going to provide plenty of power. We can take a look. So I've got a capacity of 450. So now I'm just going to go through and let's see how many we can power on at once. Probably a couple. Oh, well, that may have been too many. I think I should be able to run 6 at once. If I disconnect that one. There we go. Okay, so I can do 6 at a time. While I wait for those to fill up, now I can work on getting this coal. When I was building the versatile framework tower, there was actually one closer iron node, but I decided to use this one up here. And the reason for that is there's a coal node just right next to it. Saves me a little bit of time and effort. I can use the same foundation for at least half of its trip, and then it'll just branch down over to the coal generators. The other coal node is actually a little bit closer, just a little bit more awkward to get to. If we come back down through here, there's this little bit of a cave. And I've got a coal and a limestone node. Just need to clear out a few critters, but hey, at least there's some slugs for when I'm done. Another coal power plant is ready to turn on. We can just barely see it, but there's that coal node there in the background. So that is just going to make its way along the existing foundations. And then just branches off here. Makes its way down. It's a little bit of zigzagging. Probably could have used the curve mode and made it look a little bit nicer. But hey, it's all temporary. If all of these only last for this phase and then I just turn around and delete most of it, I will be totally okay with that. And then for the other one, I decided to go through this side of the cave. And then it just drops down under these and then makes its way over to all of our coal gens. And filling up all the water extractors didn't actually use too much solid biofuel. 2.5 stacks. That's definitely worth it to just not have to worry about my power grid. Now all I need to do is connect this tower to this tower, and that'll get both of the miners turned on. So here we go. and these were the last ones to get turned on. I do really wish that I got more power out of the coal generators, but you do gotta love just how quick and easy it is to just add more. Coal, water, and a generator. Doesn't get too much easier than that. Well, let's take a look. Where are we at? Okay. Obviously the consumption's up a bit, but we've got wiggle room now. Before I turn this on, I was dipping into battery power ever so often, but it doesn't look like we're going to be doing that now. But at the same time, I don't think this is going to be quite enough to build the next factory. Well, that is a healthy addition. Now I can breathe a little bit easier. It always makes me a little bit nervous when I'm dipping into battery power. I really don't want to hear that power grid shutting off sound. Before I leave, I thought I should clean up at least a little bit of mess. So the storage containers that I had out here that still had a bunch of extra materials. Brought out a few too many beams and reinforced iron plates and modular frames. Can't wait for this dimensional depot to get some upgrades, and then I just don't have to mess with this nearly as much. So with projects like this, and I'm surprised it hasn't happened more, it's popped up a few times as you see. One just went yellow. I had forgotten a belt in between basically this merger and this merger in my screw tower, which was slowing down the production of the reinforced iron plates and then slowing down the modular frames and then ultimately slowing down these a little bit. But I think I've caught all of my missing belts, and this should be able to bring it back up to 100% in a matter of no time. The smart plating factory has been running for quite a bit, and so far, so good. Besides coming over here to check on the tower and make sure everything's working right, there's one other thing I came over here for. You know, I really don't like the smoke coming out of the top of the towers, and you can really only see it when you're close enough. Like if I go into camera mode, and once we get just a certain distance away, it all disappears. Really not the end of the world. And I do have both the fan and the vents, so I could do something like this and get it in the right spot. And that would be enough to make me happy. Just add a couple of these on the roof, and it all of a sudden looks a lot better, right? And that is definitely a good option. But I have another idea. I came up with another blueprint. Sure, you can still see the smoke, but it'll hide it a little bit better, right? This is my battery storage topper for my towers. Now these are fairly expensive to build, so I'm not going to turn around and just add these to the top of all of my towers. In fact, for now, I am just going to add 2. And I think 2 will add a good amount. Alright, now line this up right. So this one has the free connection. We'll just go down below. Connect it right there. And let's do the same for the other. The most expensive part is just the sheer volume of wire. I need 1600 wire. And 160 modular frames isn't nothing. I only make a handful a minute of those. But I definitely think this is going to be worth it, because now instead of 600, so I had the 6 batteries, now my total capacity is 3800. Now that I have the extra power available, I might as well charge up some batteries. This is another thing where hopefully I never use it. Besides it costing a fair amount of materials, this is really only a good thing. But like I said, this isn't quite enough power to build my next factory. So that means it's time for more power. Oh good, I can still use the map on the zipline. So I have used pretty much all of the coal in this area and this area. I would like to avoid the very middle of the map for now. And going this way, yeah, we're just going to consider the swamp as part of the middle of the map. So we're going to avoid it. We'll go around. And I think the Rocky Desert is probably my next best place to go to find some more coal. And there's some decent amount of water out here too. Well, I kind of need to take power with me. So often what I'll do is get it about as far as it can go. I'll hit H to lock it, and then you can still nudge it. And then that way I can really get the full length. Oh, now that's too far. So there we go. I love ziplining towards it while it's still building. And this is how I'm going to make my way all the way out to the desert. It's not the cleanest looking way to do it. And I know, I've said this about just about everything so far. It's temporary. Ultimately, I want a world-spanning either road or train line, and that'll be a much better way to run power throughout my world, and I can come back and clean up all of these towers. But until then, this is great for both traveling and taking my power with me. I've made it to the rocky desert. We've got little streams running through it, but really the main source of water is going to be this lake, or the whole ocean. So let's see where exactly the coal is and which one is the better place to put the coal gens. I think that one is up in the red forest, so we'll ignore that one. Alright, so we've got two right here. I think it makes most sense just to come down to the lake. There's plenty of water right here. In fact, I think there's too much water. Let me cover like half of it with foundations. Like moths to a flame. As soon as I build foundations, here are the beans. Alright, so first thing I'm going to do is just paint the very center. So these two are the center line. Alright, so first thing I need to do is figure out just how far over can I get this thing. Probably about here. Let's use this foundation line. Let's lock it in place and make sure it's not too bad. It's good enough. And same as all the rest. Down clock to 90. The first 8 fit fine on this side. And on this side, 7 fit. So I just added on the 3 last ones that I needed over here in the end. Now, I just need to make sure that the pipes are lined up. So I think my coal generators are going to end up being slightly offset, since this isn't directly in the middle of the blueprint, but that's okay. We'll give myself a little bit of a walkway, and that should give me just about 2 foundations for all of the belt work. That's perfect. And now when I put this in blueprint mode, let's double check, but this should be in line. Perfect. Now I just need to spam down a few more. Do have to be careful. It's easy to place it underneath another blueprint. Even though the water extractors are over here, I want to keep all of these in line. It'll make the belt work a whole lot easier. I just need to snake the pipes around. Yep, for this one, we're going to end up being, I guess, just half a foundation offset from those. But hey, they're temporary, right? And there's another 36 coal generators ready to go. I skipped through the belt work because it's identical to the one that I just did. And the pipework is as well. The only difference is these last 2 on this side just have to come from right over here. Same with the very last one on this side. No surprises here. I think we're up to like almost 200 coal generators in this world or something. I'll have to look when I finally stop building them. Just do one last double check. So we are still charging up the batteries, so everything's looking good. But thankfully this will drop down a little bit. So I think I can just connect all of these at once. Just slows down the battery charging up a little bit, but that's alright. The pipes are nice and short, so all of this will completely back up in no time. But while it's doing that, now I need to lay down some more foundations and grab those coal nodes. So let's go ahead and skip ahead, and I'll show you where it's all coming from. The water extractors are all backed up. The coal has been belted. Just need to turn on the miners. I said I wanted to look just because I was so curious. I am up to 113 water extractors and 226 coal generators. This is so many more than I have ever built before. This is crazy. So let me show you where these 2 completely full Mark III belts are going to be coming from. So we can just follow it this way. Let's just go to the next power tower. The first coal node is just coming from right up there, which I've done a number of starts in the Rocky Desert before. So I don't know the place like the back of my hand or anything, but I do know some of the nodes, and that is normally a Caterium node. But now it's going to provide that juicy pollution and power. The other one just needs to go on a little bit farther of a journey. Just from right over here. It's really not too far. Right now, the only thing on this power grid is the 2 miners. So all I have to do is connect this to the power tower that's hidden behind the tree. There we go. And let's watch another one come to life. Cult generators are so loud. Easier to take a look at the power over here. Oh, finally, some wiggle room. Oh, about 3,000. Hey, I'll take it. If I have 226 coal generators, and they each use 15 apiece, I am currently using almost 3,400 coal on just coal power. Oof. With all Mark III belts. As we can see in the top corner, I still have quite a while until either of the first 2 space elevator parts are finished. The sooner I automate the last one, the better, because I can always just stockpile more for the next phase. I'm gonna need more. But at the same time, I'm not in the biggest rush to get it done right away. Since I'm already all the way out here, I think it'd be a good idea to take some time and do some exploring before I automate the very last one. There's a couple more things that I would really like to unlock. I don't normally show too much of me exploring because, 1, I think the main focus of this is the factory building, and 2, who really wants to watch me miss my rebar shots over and over again? But there are some fun tricks, and one of them is using the power lines to help you explore. So you can definitely do this with the normal power lines before, but as we'll see, much harder because the reach just isn't nearly as far, and I need it to kind of be able to pop up somewhere. Whereas with these, it's a lot easier because even if it's red, now I can lock it in place, I can nudge it over, it'll show red, probably just need to go up a few times, and there we go. Placing the power tower is much more forgiving. And now, I can just go up. And here's the other thing I really wanted to show because I'm pretty sure this is fairly new. Yeah, see, who wants to watch me try to aim over and over again? So close. I'll probably do it, but I'm trying to stick it. Hey! We got there! It didn't even blow it up. Clearly, that should be a little bit closer. Okay, so now I can show you. Oh boy, before I die. So now you can blow up the nodes, which is just really handy. And this is a lot of my exploring, is just being a coward and hiding behind my foundations or power towers. Eventually, I'll get there. But these definitely make the early exploring a whole lot easier because they will still leave some radiation, but just getting them out of the way just helps a lot. So I've cleared out most of them, but as soon as I get close, yeah, I'm still gonna hit a whole bunch of radiation. But it does lessen over time, so if I gave it enough time, it would go away. But at least now it is much more manageable and I can kind of run away. That's why I crafted all these inhalers. But I'm going to continue this exploration trip and see what goodies I can find. Oh, good. I do have some electromagnetic control rods. Another hard drive. I am back from another exploration trip. Let's take a look at the haul. Quite a few remains. a few slugs. I'm up to 20 Sommer sloops, 15 hard drives, and 40 Mercer spheres. Let's head back down here into my basement, and let's use my soul constructor over here. I'm gonna work through my slugs and my remains. While that works away, let's see what we can unlock in the man. The main goal for that was to collect a whole bunch of Mercer spheres, because I really want to get these upgraded some more. But it looks like I'm short just a few sand fluctuators. It may not be a large container, but I do have a container of the reanimated sand. Unfortunately, I can't sloop these because I still don't have the manufacturers, but hey, I've got time. I think for now, I'm just going to keep them even. We'll do the next two.
Dimensional expansion increased to 300%.
Well, it looks like I need to do some more crafting. Got the Mercer spheres for the next two, but not the sand fluctuators yet. I'd be interested to know how you all feel, but for me, I think most of the time I value the upload speed more than I do the stack size, and so that's why I've been upgrading this one first, just in case, but we're going to keep this one even. And when I get more Mercer spheres, I'm probably going to max this one out first. That is going to make building so much easier. Speaking of building, I think I kind of want to clean this up. And in fact, I think I want to just move all of this. Instead of having to run down here, seems kind of silly. I think I'm going to move everything upstairs. Let's just add some more foundations on over here. Pretty sure the tractors still have... Yeah, I built plenty high enough. And now when I send off a milestone, I don't have to pretend it's not clipping straight through all my towers. I probably don't use these enough. I really like the basic shelving units. So with the personal storage, they just kind of snap right in place. And sometimes it's nice to have just some extra little storage, and this way I can hold all that extra coal that I've collected, but I don't need quite yet. Eventually, I'm going to need to make some more Nobelisks, and it'll be nice to have some coal ready. Now the hub is much more conveniently located. You can just walk right outside, and there's the bulk of the storage. I've got my one slooped constructor, so I can get rid of all of my slugs and remains. And my new trash can. I can't believe it takes 300 megawatts to run this whenever I do put things in there. I'm gonna head back to my smart plating tower. Since I've got a good amount of extra power available, I want to add some more of those battery toppers. And here's the first one. And there's number 2. Then I'm also going to do one for each of the constructor towers. 4 more. My very out of place blue and pink batteries. I do actually have a long-term plan for these, but plans change, so we'll see if it lasts. That's what I'm talking about. Now, once these get charged up, I'm going to have over 13,000 megawatt hours stored up. That is going to make me feel a whole lot better. Power isn't fluctuating too much, but I know it's only going to get worse. I've got more power and more power storage being charged up. I think it's finally time for the automated wiring. I've extended my ridiculous platform, and so now I should have enough room for a few more towers. Here is a look at the spreadsheet. I'm going to make a whopping 10 automated wiring per minute. But thankfully, I only need 10,000 a minute. This is going to finish in no time. To make these, I need stators and cable. And a fair amount of cable. The normal way you would make it would be you turn copper into wire and then the wire into cable. I'll have some other options later on, but I think at this point, the Caterium wire is just a fantastic recipe. For every Caterium ingot, you get 8 wire, which is a way better ratio than with copper. Even though the Caterium's a little bit more rare, I think this is a great use. And since I'm involving Caterium to make the wire, might as well use the quick wire stator, because this is another alternate where you get to just create more per machine, so I just need less assemblers. Like with the rest of them, start with the blueprint designer, and we're gonna set these recipes to make my life just a little bit easier. I'm splitting the Caterium ingot into 2 different towers, so let's do the one that's gonna make the wire first. For that one, I'm gonna be using 150 Caterium ore. Since I'm looking to use around 33, 2 of these blueprints gives me 36. Divided by the default rate, since I'm dealing with the ore, I need to do 45, not the 15. And then we multiply by 100. Yep, just under 10%. Terrific. The direction of this part of the factory, I guess, is going to go this way. And that way the final product can then head over the space elevator. And none of these numbers are too crazy, so I don't think the load balancing is going to be that bad in between the different towers. So I'm just going to give them the 2 foundations. And I finally smartened up and just added the ladder to the side of the blueprint. To be honest, I thought I had tried to add them into the blueprint and it just didn't work. And then one of you made that helpful comment, made me realize I should try again, and it worked. I don't know what I did wrong the very first time, but it does work, even though it looks like it's outside the blueprint designer. The one thing you have to watch out for is you can place it on the pillar, which I guess would be fine. But if you place it on the ground, if you scroll your middle mouse wheel, you can actually get it to clip onto the other side on accident. So just make sure that you spin it to the right side, and then you can actually use the ladder. Okay, so that's 1 Caterium tower down. The second one, just for fun, we'll do it with the ingots instead. I only need 15 Caterium ingots per minute, and that only needs 1 machine. So I'm just going to use 1 blueprint, which is 18 smelters. The normal rate is also 15. Multiply that by 100. And that one you would normally think, because it should be really easy, I should just be able to do the 15 divided by 18. But as you see, that actually changes the incoming amount from 2.5 to 2.49. So just a little bit more math. So nice when I only need 1 blueprint. And that's it for the Caterium ingots. For the last row of towers, we are going to do iron. Even though it is a little bit more expensive as far as the actual iron ore goes, I just love the iron pipe recipe. Especially because I don't have a lot of coal around here. I need 80 ingots, and I'm aiming for about 26 machines. 2 blueprints will be 36. And there we go. Each machine will output 2 and 2 nights, I think. 1 and 2. This is going to be really easy, with them only being 2 tall. So let me just knock this out real quick, and then we'll move on to the constructors. The tiny bit of belt work is done, and I've got a few signs just to help me out, especially when I have 2 towers that need the same thing. One only needs 45 Caterium ore, whereas the other one needs 150. Now we move on to the constructors. So with the constructor towers, I just decided to invert the colors. Right now, the more grayish ones are actually the chrome finish, just on concrete. I guess they're not very chrome. And then Caterium for the pillars. So let's kind of go in reverse. I think that'll be easier. The iron ingots are getting turned into the steel pipes. Except for I need the iron pipe recipe. Guess I better scan another hard drive because I also need that one. Oh, it's a good thing I've got 20. I'm pretty sure this is just a bug that's been in the game, even though there is now a recipe available. If I save and reload, it'll let me scan it. But if I come over to my hard drive library, I've also got a couple that only have 1. So I just have to save and reload, and it'll let me scan so I can get my quickwire stators. Now I can set the correct recipe and get rid of all that coal. So I've got 80 iron ingots that I'm working with. I need less than 1 machine, so that means I can just use 1 blueprint of 12. The default rate is 100 iron ingots per minute, and then we multiply by 100. I guess that seems a little silly, but hey, it works. Yeah, 2 foundations will be plenty of space for these. And for this, well, looks like I'm going to have to move my power towers. Even though I definitely have cables clipping here and there, I would prefer for that not to go straight through all the towers. But that's all I need for the pipes. So now let's move on to the quick wire tower. I'm going to be making 75 quick wire a minute. So again, I only need one blueprint gives me 12. Technically, I want 12.5. I think I'll be okay. The convenience of only placing one blueprint. 10.4. That's good enough. And just one blueprint for this one. And that's all I need for quickwire. And that's all I need to do there. Oh, it's beautiful. Oddly enough, this is the easiest space elevator part this phase. And now I can pick the Caterium wire alternate recipe. And now that I've selected 2 alternate recipes, there's 2 left in the pool, and now it'll let me. So that's the reason I didn't save and restart. Oh, 120 wire per minute. That's great. Normally you would need 3 1/3 machines, so I'm looking at about 33. If I place 3 blueprints, that's 36. We divide by the default rate of 120 per minute and multiply by 100. Just under 10%. That looks right to me. Alright, so just 3 of these blueprints. And the belt work for that's going to be easy enough. Just need to group these 2 towers, send it over, and then load balance it across those 3. One last constructor tower, and this is going to take all of that wire and turn it into cable. The 400 wire will get turned into 200 cable. Unfortunately, I need twice as many machines for this. 3 blueprints is 36, so 6 is going to be 72. Divided by 30, multiplied by 100. Looks good to me. Alright, for these, this is the last row. So there's the smelters, that's turning them into wire. So the next tower is just going to be right after this one. Somehow I forgot to add the tower. To resave it with the tower. Forgot to add the ladder to these ones. Just have to manually add it to the other ones because I don't want to redo the recipes. But at least they'll be saved in there from now on. Still not as tall as the smart plating towers. Or that craziness over there. So since I am still limited to Mark III belts, I can only fit 270 of that wire on one belt. And I've done 3 blueprints. There's a number of different ways I could do it. I could split the middle blueprint in half, and then I would have 2 equal belts, and I could do it that way. Or what I can do is just pair up each one of these blueprints with 2 of these blueprints. So I'll have just a belt going into one splitter, and that'll split between these 2. And then this one will feed these 2. And then this one will feed the top 2. I think that's the most straightforward and probably easiest way to do all this. So let me knock that out real quick. For the first towers, it's nice and simple. Grab up those 2, send it over, and it's just the 1 blueprint. The middle one's even simpler, just 1 blueprint to 1 blueprint. And then here we have the last one. We just merge up the 2 blueprints for the smelters, send that over, split it between the 3 blueprints for the constructors, and then once we get to the next step, then it's just 1, gets split into 2, and then this blueprint splits it into these 2. And then with this blueprint, I just need to go up a little bit. And then I can split it between the top 2. Now I just need 10 of these assembler bricks. Now I can get my quick wire stators. For the stators to automated wiring, it's a 1-to-1 ratio. So I just need to make 10 of these. Normally I would need 1.25 machines. 2 of these blueprints would give me 12. And that's pretty close. Default rate of 8 per minute times 100, 10.4167. These right here are the steel pipes. The next one over is the quick wire. So I'm going to do the stators right here. And then in the very center will be the automated wiring. And that way the cable will be able to just snake back on this side. And then the stators will do the same thing. They'll snake around this side and both feed in from here. Last tower. I'm going to be making 10 per minute. Now, normally that would take 4 machines, which means I'm aiming for 40. 7 of these blueprints would be 42, but I don't really want to work with 7. So we'll do 8, which would be 48. Default rate of 2.5, 8.33. Forgot on the first one. I'll have to add that one manually, but hey, at least I remembered for the second one to add the ladder. And let the assembler span begin. Just a tiny bit taller than the constructors. Alright, so this is the one tower that'll take a little bit more work just because I've got the 2 inputs, but since I'm working with 8 blueprints and that's just the power of 2, it makes it really easy since I don't have to use all 3 outputs of a splitter. Load balancing this is going to be pretty standard. We've seen this before. To do that, I just need 3 of each. The first splitter is going to split it in half, and that's going to go up halfway. And then that one will go a quarter. And then this one right here will do this floor and the very next one. Okay, so it did get a little bit cramped by only giving myself the 2 foundations. But it all fits and there's no clipping. It gets a little bit close. And I added some more signs. This is the side that the 10 stators are plugging in, and if we go to the other side, we've got the 200 cable. Same thing for this stator tower. And then like I said, the load balancing is pretty straightforward. The first splitter splits it in half. And then you've got 2 identical halves where the next splitter splits that in half. And then again in half. But after the blue crater towers, this was easy. I just want to get these up and running as soon as I can. And so I've got a buffer of my industrial storage containers. Once this is up and running, then I'll add my truck station. And hey look, a space elevator is not all that far away. Before I get too ahead of myself, I need to figure out where this ore is coming from. I only need a total of 80 iron ore, so that's easy. I can find any node, and impure is fine. For the Caterium, I need 150 for this tower, and 45 for this one. And let's see, if I ping for Caterium, there is not a lot of Caterium around. Oh, there it is. Yeah, so the next ones are pretty far. We're definitely using this one. My temporary little quick wire setup is nice and full. Maybe I'll just leave that there for a second. Oh, this is a Mark 1 miner, no wonder. Like, why can I only get this much out of it? There we go. I don't have belts for 300, so 270 is the most I can get out of here. I don't actually think I need that much. Right now I only need 195. But since I need to do a little bit of load balancing to split it between the 2 towers, I think I could do a little bit of planning ahead. Let's give myself just a little bit more room to work with. I think spinning it to have it face this way is going to be a little better. And if you ever have little rocks sticking out, not all of them can be destroyed, but that's usually worth a shot. A lot of the times, you can actually blow them up with an obelisk. Nice, smooth. Get rid of that nature. Like so many parts of this game, there's a bunch of different ways I could have gone about this. So let me break it down. I need 150 Caterium ore to make the wire. I need 45 Caterium ore to turn into quick wire. And because this is the only Caterium around here, I want to get full use out of this node, and so I have plans to use 63 Caterium ore in the next video. If I want this to go to 3 different places, the 2 ways I thought of would be first to just split off what I need today, which would be 195, and then the 63 that I'm going to use next time. And then with the 195, then I can split that into the 2 towers, the 150 and the 45. The other option, I could just do it all at once, and that's the option I went with. As we could see on the diagram, which I know now that I shrink it is going to be real small, so I apologize. But if you ever want to take a look at these, they're all on my Google Drive. Since it is going to extend a bit on either side, I want to make sure that I miss the miners, so we'll just start right here. And it starts with a splitter. As you can see on the diagram, there's quite a bit of crisscrossing belts, which usually means lifts to go up and over them, because I'm not going to clip them straight through each other. But with all of this, to try to make sure I give myself enough space, instead of doing the normal 1 meter, I'm going to give everything a 2 meter gap. So let's get all of the splitters and mergers placed, and then we'll go through the belt work. So there's a splitter here, and then we can split to a merger. And it'll be a merger, and then another merger in front of that one. This merger isn't in line with this one. We're going to skip that spot, and we're going to go to the next one. It would be right there. So that's all of them for this section. We're taking the initial amount into this splitter and splitting it into thirds. So that's dealing with 2/3 of it. The last third is going to go this way. We're going to go with the merger, and we're just going to put it in the middle of this foundation. Make sure it's in the middle. Perfect. Then going up, or I guess in the game, south from here, we do 2 splitters. To the left of the final splitter is going to be a merger. And then to the right of this middle one, we got a merger, and that is going to face out. And then next to this splitter, we do another splitter. And from this splitter, we're going into 2 mergers. Many of you probably know some familiar pattern with these two. A merger and 2 splitters in a row is how I do my 5-way splits. So we just need a splitter here, splitter here, one here, and one more here. Right after the 5-way split, we've got one last merger up here, and then one last one on the side. And this one is facing backwards because this is the part that gets looped back. Okay, so I think that's all the splitters and mergers. Now let's go through the confusing belt work and just throw out a whole bunch of numbers. The minor here is going to be overclocked to 258. That 258 is just going to go straight into this first splitter. And if we divide 258 by 3, we've got 86 on each one of these belts. From the middle 86, we're going to split that in half. So there's 43, and there's 43. On this belt, we've got 129, and ultimately that's going to be our 150. But let's go over here to sort everything else out. So the 86 that branched off to the right goes straight into a merger, and 86 isn't the greatest number to work with, and so I'm going to loop back 4, which will give me 90 on this belt. Using all 3 outputs, that gives me 30, 30, and then the last 30 I want to plug into this merger. And so for that, what I'm going to do is go to lock a splitter in place here, and then nudge it 4 meters, and then up 2. So let me get a stubby lift angled this way, and now I can just delete this splitter. And then I do the same thing for this one. And now this merger has 60. Eventually, that'll be my 63. Alright, so to get all the last bits, I'm going to work with this 30. First things first, divide that into 3. We've got 10, 10, and 10. And so this 20 is going to go over to that one. And so for that, we can just do the same thing again. 4 meters away, spin that around. And now that one's in, this is just the right distance that both of them will just connect to each other. So there's the 129, and this right here is 20. So I've got 149. This is just missing 1 to get to 150. So now we come back here. So the last 10 went into this splitter, and now we're going to split that in half. So here's 5 and here's 5, which are going into the mergers because these are both doing the 5-way split. So the 5s are going to become 6s. And so on this side, I am just going to loop back this one here. This is 3 right here. And then for this 3, I'm going to use a lift. But for this right here, here's 1 and here's 2. And so now what I can do is bring this one over to here. That belt right there is 43. So plus the 2, there's my 45. That amount is done. So with this 3, I think what I want to do is actually give this just a little bit more space. Yeah, we're just going to move this whole section over 2 meters. Alright, now there's enough space. Okay, so from this splitter right here, I need to use this output. This right here has 3, and that needs to plug up to that merger, which has 60 right now. And that'll give me my 63 in total. Probably should have given myself even more space, but I can make this work. So instead of having it the normal distance, what I'm going to do is nudge this splitter over by 1 meter. And if I connect it to this first, it would be past the halfway mark. But if I connect to this first, I can get rid of the accordion. And now I still have enough room to do the same thing on this side. So for this merger, same thing. If I connected it normally, that would clip in. But I can kind of get rid of the accordion and it'll all work out. So I just need to nudge it 4 meters that way. And then if I center this on the gap, now I can connect to this merger and spin it around. Nice and snug, but no clipping. Now I can delete this merger. And from here to there. So now I've got 63 out of here. Just need to do this last 5-way split. So that's 5 into here. We're going to loop back 1, so that's going to be 6. Split this in half. There's 3, and here's 3. 1 is going to plug into here. So 3 plus my 1. Here's my 4 that I needed to loop back to this merger to make the original 86 90 to make all this part work. And now for the last 2. So one of them needs to loop back to this first merger right here. So let's do that first. Do the same thing I did on this side. Nice and snug. That completes the 5-way split. And then for this very last one, we'll just do a normal height to get over all the rest of the lifts. And then come all the way to the other side. This one right here. Connect these two. And there is the last one to turn this 149 into 150. It's been a while since I've done something ridiculous like this. But I love these little puzzles. I think they're fun. Now I just need to belt these two over to some floor holes. As I mentioned, the 63 isn't getting used today. And since I've kind of boxed this in, we'll just go up and over everything else. Since this is temporary, like actually temporary, I'm going to delete this when I build the next factory in the next video. I'm just going to do this really simply. We'll just do 3 smelters just straight into 3 constructors. These are making 7 1/9, I think. We're just going to do it like that. So 7 1/9 divided by, well, this is per machine, so we can skip the 1. The default rate would be 12 Caterium ingots, and then we'll multiply this by 100. There we go. It just means I need 1 splitter in front, 3 quick belts here, and then these just direct feed into their constructors. And we'll add a couple containers, and this way I can stockpile a whole bunch of quick wire, and until I get the next one up, at least I'm not on a limited supply of quick wire. Running out is just such a pain. Let me finish up the little bit of belt work that I have left and find that iron node. Now I've got plenty of storage. I didn't want things to back up, and I just don't feel like adding an awesome sink, so we'll just stock up tons of quick wire in the meantime. I got pretty lucky and I ended up building these towers almost directly on top of this Caterium node, so they really didn't have far to travel at all. And honestly, neither is the iron. It's just coming from right up here. This is an impure node that I've just kind of been ignoring, partially because it just blends in with the ground so well, you can barely see the rocks poking out. And it's an impure node, so as far as power-wise, these are awful. But it's nice and close, so that makes up for it. Alright, let's watch another factory come to life. I just need to connect this power, that'll get the iron going, and then just connect the power to the Caterium. And let's start the stopwatch. It read 10 a minute just for a second. Now that it's been running for a little bit, I don't think we're ever going to get the constant 10. It's probably going to go from 8 to 12 would be my guess. Yep, there's 8. Another space elevator part automated. But right now, we're just building them up in the industrial storage container. This gives me plenty of time. And now it's time to use my good old cart road again. And I think it should be this one. I'll line up with the very corner one. Blueprint auto connect. And this shouldn't take too long at all. The only tricky part is I'm pretty sure this is going to run right into that power line, isn't it? Alright, so let me move that. And, oh, I don't think these are quite even, so I'm probably going to have to use a ramp. I'm sure this is something everybody here probably knows. But just in case you didn't, if you have 2 power poles, you can take a third one and you can snap it directly to the wire. And now I can place that all the way over there. Same thing goes for the power towers. I can snap this onto here, and I can drag this a little bit farther out. And then if that had an open connection, I could just connect this one to there, and then just delete this one. But besides the main connection, they also have the secondary one. So if I really want to make sure that I'm not going to disrupt my power, I can drag this out to here temporarily and connect it to that one, and do the same thing to that one. And then I can delete this, make this connection, and then just delete these temporary ones, and then just clean this up. And that way you can avoid the scariest sound in the game. New day, new truck station. Time to go for a little cart ride. First thing I need to do is actually get these plugged in. Ah, and here they come. I'm only making 10 a minute, and this trip is pretty short. I think 1 is all I need. Automated wiring pickup to the space elevator. And now there's a second intersection. And as we just saw, they seem to navigate it really well. I do not know exactly what the rules are as far as which one gets right of way over the other one, because I thought the other one got closer to the intersection first, but maybe because this is a straightaway, whereas he has to turn, the straightaway got the right of way because that way he can keep his speed up or something. I don't know. It'll be interesting to find out how all the rules of it work. But now, as we can see in the top corner, I finally have all 3 space elevator parts headed to the space elevator. That is going to do it for this one. Thank you so much for being here. I now have over 220 coal generators providing 18,000 megawatts of power. I've added more power storage to give just a little bit of buffer to the grid. And now all the parts needed to complete Phase 2 are headed to the space elevator. I still have plenty to do here in Phase 2. Besides a temporary steel factory, I haven't automated any of the new parts that I'm going to need going forward. I also have a few more things I want to unlock before I finish this phase, and those are going to require some more exploration. So look forward to that, and thanks for watching.